How's it going, everybody? This is RBT coming at you with my NFL Week 10 picks for the 2013-2014 season. And these are coming out a little bit late today. I apologize, but let's go. Rocking that South Alabama hat that I got. Let's get this thing going. All right, first of all, we have Thursday night game, the Washington Redskins at the Minnesota Vikings. Yes, Minnesota did compete last week against the Cowboys. Cowboys had to score real late to win, but it's still the Minnesota team that's unsettled at the quarterback position, and no matter who they have, it's been really inconsistent. The one consistency they've had on that team is obviously Adrian Peterson, so you can expect a good game from him every single week. With this being a Thursday night, I feel like playing at home, Minnesota will be able to compete with the Redskins. Teams have been up and down this season. They do look like they're gaining some momentum, and RG3's been looking very, very good these last couple weeks, and that's why I'm so glad he's doing so much better, because I was getting so sick of all the haters down in RG3 with how he was struggling a little bit early on to start the season. But you can't, a guy is not going to come back starting in a full NFL game after about a year of missing action and come back and look great. I mean, you can't expect that, and he didn't look too bad for the circumstances that surrounded him. So I expect the Redskins to come out offensively, have a big game, but I do expect Adrian Peterson alone to keep the Minnesota Redskins, the Minnesota Vikings in the game. But I think late on in the game, Minnesota will have to rely on their quarterback to make some plays to catch up with the Redskins offense, and that's when the mistake or so will come and lead to a Redskins victory. So I'm going to go the Redskins by about 10 points. I'll go 27-17 Washington Redskins over the Minnesota Vikings, but I would not be surprised to see Adrian Peterson go over 100, maybe 150 yards in this one. All right, next we go on to the Sunday games. You have the Seattle Seahawks at the Atlanta Falcons. And this is the Atlanta Falcons team that's been completely decimated, and after all the injuries, their star players such as Matt Ryan have not been looking up to par, really. Absolutely blown out the last couple weeks by the Cardinals and by the Panthers last week. And I just don't expect them to be able to compete with the Seattle Seahawks. I know the Seahawks almost lost last week to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I mean that happens from time to time. Good teams, that is what defines a good team. A team that comes out doesn't look their best, doesn't look good at all, but they still find ways to win. That's what the Seahawks are. A good running game with Marshawn Lynch, a really good quarterback in Russell Wilson, a solid defense, which might be one of the best in the NFL. So I'm going to Seattle Seahawks by 2 touchdowns, 31-17 over the. I don't know. Let's go 31-14. A big victory, 31-14, Seattle over Atlanta. All right, next we have the Detroit Lions at the Chicago Bears. Supposedly, Jay Cutler is supposed to be coming back for this one, but that's not 100% sure. But regardless, if he's going to return or not, I still think the Detroit Lions are going to win this game. I think the Chicago Bears defense has really fallen off in terms of production. Yes, they're still good as a group, as in the turnover margin. They create turnovers, but I think that the Detroit Lion offense is really coming together. In between Stafford and Calvin Johnson, they have some pieces that's really been helping out. And I think they're going to have a big game offensively and outscore the Chicago Bears. Yes, the Detroit back seven isn't the best, but their front seven is very good, can create havoc on the quarterback. And I think they get to either McCown or Cutler, whoever plays, and gets to the quarterback, rattles them, and allows the Detroit Lions to win. So I'm going to say Detroit by a touchdown. 20, I don't know. Let's go by 4. By 4 points. 28-24 Detroit over Chicago in this one. All right, next we have Philadelphia at Green Bay. And I honestly think I'm going to pick, I'm not sure if you can consider it an upset anymore without Aaron Rodgers, but I'm going to pick Philadelphia over Green Bay. Because, I mean, this is the Philadelphia team that came out last weekend. Absolutely lit the scoreboard up. I mean, they scored. Nick Foles threw 7 touchdowns in that game, and that's really impressive. A lot of people have to call me in the middle of a video, but he looked really impressive. And the Green Bay came out last night. Aaron Rodgers is out for 3 weeks. He got hurt. I think they said it was a broken left collarbone or something. I forget. Something was fractured or broken. Something. He's out for 3 weeks. So if they don't sign anybody else to take over the starting job, the starting quarterback is going to be Seneca Wallace. And Seneca Wallace, however you want to pronounce it. And he didn't look all that great last night. I mean, he's an older quarterback. He's like 5'10", 5'11". So they're definitely undersized. I don't think he's a team that can really help the Packers outscore the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Packers are going to have to rely on their run game, which isn't the best in the NFL. The defense is going to have to come up huge. I don't think they can stop Philadelphia's offense enough to be able to beat the Eagles. The Eagles are going to have to come out and have a horrible game to be able to in order for the Green Bay Packers to be able to beat them. So I think Philadelphia has a big game and beats the Packers in Lambeau Field by I'd say at least a touchdown, and that's being kind of generous. But I'm gonna say 28-21 Philadelphia Eagles over the Green Bay Packers. All right, next we have the Jacksonville Jaguars at my Tennessee Titans, and full-heartedly believe that the Titans are gonna win this game. And Jacksonville is one of the worst teams in the NFL, so there's no real reason you can predict the Jacksonville Jaguars over the Titans. Yes, Jaguars beat the Titans once last year, but that was with Matt Hasselbeck at quarterback. Our defense is much improved, run game is much improved. We're playing at home, so we're not going to let the Jacksonville Jaguars beat us. I say about at least 2 touchdowns we win this one. I'll go 27-13 Titans over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Next, we have the St. Louis Rams at the Indianapolis Colts, and that's the Rams team that the Titans just beat last week. Kellen Clemens did impress me last week. So did Zach Stacy. So don't be surprised if the Rams are actually in this game late in the second half. But the Colts just overall just way too much for the St. Louis Rams without a star at quarterback. I mean, the Colts are a team that even if they're down by a lot in the second half or fourth quarter, they can come back because Andrew Luck's an absolute beast at leading comebacks, and he might not need to come back. He might need one, but regardless, I think the Colts will win at home, and I'll go by about 10 points. I'll go 10 points. I'll go I don't know. I'll go 30-17, by 13 points. 30-17 Colts over the Rams. There's too much. There's absolutely too much, and that's just simply put. All right, next we have the Oakland Raiders at the New York Giants, and I think this is another win that the Giants can get. I mean, they had the momentum going in their way. They're coming off a bye week, and I think they get their 3rd win of the season in this one, and I think they'll keep the ball rolling. And I mean, you think about it, they could if they win this game, they can possibly go next week and beat the Packers with Aaron Rodgers out. So this is a Giants team that has everything in the world to really going for them. I mean, yes, there is pressure, but no, there's really not. The Raiders have been looking bad lately, and I expect the Giants to win this game. I really do. I expect Eli to have a big game. I mean, the Eagles had a huge game last week, threw 7 touchdown passes against the Raiders. So, unless the Raiders can get to Eli Manning, which I mean is possible, but with the Raiders front 7, you really wouldn't expect it. But I don't think they get to him enough. If that can put that in simple terms, I don't think they get to him enough to be able to really affect that offense too much. So I expect the New York Giants to have a big game offensively and beat the Raiders by about a touchdown. I'll go 24-17 Giants over the Raiders. And like I said, they win this game and they can win next week. That'll put the team at 4-6, and who knows what they can do from there. Because I mean, they very easily can win next week against the Packers with Aaron Rodgers out. All right, next we have the Buffalo Bills at the Pittsburgh Steelers. And this is a Steelers team that, for the most part, competed last week against the New England Patriots. And this is a Bills team that's been without a lot of their starters, specifically their quarterback, having to play with Jeff Toole and whoever, Thad Lewis playing quarterback. Last week it was Jeff Toole. And it's kind of crazy because Jeff Toole didn't even start his whole entire senior year in college at Washington State. And now he's starting somewhat in the NFL, which is kind of crazy. But the Bills, just for some reason, week in and week out, they just find ways to compete each and every week with their opponents, and they have not had one blowout loss this whole entire season. With the injury, no matter how many injuries have been at the quarterback position, they compete, and that's why I think they go in and beat Pittsburgh. I think everybody is picking Pittsburgh in this one. I mean, this is a Pittsburgh team that competed for the first 3 quarters last week, but then they gave 28 in the fourth quarter to the Patriots. Ended up giving 55 points up. And yes, Ben Roethlisberger is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, but that's not solely going to be able to beat the Bills. They're just a team that plays good defense, runs the football really well, plays really good special teams. if whoever plays quarterback can limit turnovers, I really do think they can beat the Steelers by a field goal. Probably my upset pick of the week, I guess you could say. So I'm gonna go the Bills. The Bills 23-20 over the Pittsburgh Steelers in this game. All right, next we have the Cincinnati Bengals at the Baltimore Ravens. All right, this is a Bengals team that's been on a roll lately. They're tied for first in their division, and they're kind of spotty. They've been kind of spotty, but lately, for the most part, they've been doing pretty good. They're first in the AFC North right now, 6-3, and they did lose last Thursday night against the Miami Dolphins. But for the most part, they've been looking very, very good. And this is the Baltimore Ravens team that's also been spotty. They've lost some games that they really weren't expected to lose, and they've won some games that they really weren't expected to win. So it's been spotty, but they're under 500, and I really expect that the Cincinnati Bengals come out and beat the Baltimore Ravens in their home stadium. I mean, this is a Ravens team that lost 3 straight games. I mean, coming off of 3 straight losses against the Browns and the Steelers, who just gave up 55 points to the Patriots. And I think if the Browns, with their quarterback situation, what it is, being able to outscore the Ravens, I think the Bengals can do the same. They're young offense. They're young, youthful, speedy. They can beat the Baltimore Ravens by, I'll say, a touchdown. Let's go 27-20 Bengals over the Baltimore Ravens. All right, next we have, which I think is one of the best games of the week, probably the best game of the week. Carolina Panthers going into San Francisco to take on the 49ers. A tale of 2 speedy, big-armed quarterbacks in Cam Newton and Colin Kaepernick. I mean, this is a Carolina Panthers team that is looking very, very good. I mean, right now they're second in the NFC South, and they're looking to go even farther than anybody predicted them to coming into the season. And can they beat the 49ers? I'm not sure. I mean, the Carolina Panthers, though, you gotta respect them, not only what they've been doing offensively, but defensively. They statistically, and just from watching them, you can tell they are one of the best defenses in the NFL. And that's hard to believe coming from a Panthers team. But they are stopping the run like no other. Their secondary is looking really good. And they run the football like as effectively as anybody in the NFL, really. And with between Cam Newton, whoever you want to put at quarterback, D'Angelo Williams, etc. I mean, at running back, they just look very good running the football. And Cam Newton really hasn't had to throw the football as much as he had in the last couple of years because of how well the defense and the running game has been doing for the team. And on the flip side, the San Francisco 49ers, we all know how great traditionally their defense is. They're also running the football really well. Colin Kaepernick, much like Cam Newton, hasn't had to throw the football much this season. But these are 2 teams that are tied second in their division, so both teams are desperately looking for a win. And I still do think the 49ers win this game, but not because of anything. Because, I mean, these 2 teams are so evenly matched. They do things quite similarly. Play great defense, they run the football, and don't really have to throw the football. So whatever quarterback really, I think a quarterback is going to have, something's going to have to give here. Some quarterback is going to have to force to throw the football. And what quarterback do I trust the most? It's kind of hard because I honestly think I trust Cam Newton more throwing the football than Colin Kaepernick. But then you got to even kill between the better quarterback, home field advantage. Man, I think coming down to it, I think I'm going to pick the Panthers. I think the Panthers, both teams play great run defense, but I think the Panthers play better run defense, and I trust Cam Newton more than I do Colin Kaepernick. That overrides home field advantage, so I'm going to give the Carolina Panthers a 3-point victory. It's hard to predict the Panthers over the 49ers, but I wholeheartedly think they will. I'll go Panthers, and it's hard to say because, I mean, coming into this, I think I was going to pick the 49ers, but thinking about it more closely, I'm going with the Panthers. 27-24 over the San Francisco 49ers. But 2 great teams and 2 teams I fully expect to be in the playoffs and compete in the playoffs. So these teams easily could meet up later on in the season. All right, next we have the Houston Texans at the Arizona Cardinals. And this is the Texans team that allowed the Colts to come back from a 21-3 deficit. Case Keenum and the Andre Johnson connection looked absolutely amazing in the first half, and they completely fell off. The Colts made very, very good second half adjustments to limit that combination. But this is a Cardinals team which isn't looking too terribly bad. They might not compete for the division title because they're in one of the toughest divisions of football, the NFC West. They're third right now, but they're 500 and they're looking pretty good in each area of the game. I mean, they're not throwing the football as well as you'd wish, and the offense as a whole hasn't been performing up to par. But they're competing in each and every game. That's all that matters. Coming off a bye week, gonna be well rested. I think the Texans can really compete in this one, but just with the quarterback situation, what it is, I don't think Case Keenum's been doing a bad job whatsoever. I think he's been actually overperforming to a lot of people's expectations coming into his starts. I think playing at home, the Arizona defense will be able to hold the Texans to enough points to enable them to outscore them. Larry Fitzgerald's going to be a bad matchup for any Texans defender. So I'm going to go Arizona. Very, very close victory, and probably another field goal game. Low scoring. I'll go 17-14 Arizona over the Houston Texans. All right, next we have the Denver Broncos at the San Diego Chargers. San Diego's coming off a heartbreaker loss to the Redskins last week, but I say this every week, but I want to reiterate how impressed I am with the makeup job that the Chargers have done. They were horrible last season. I expected them to be horrible this season, but they haven't been. I mean, they're not spectacular, but Phillip Rivers has completely revamped his play, and he's looking like the Phillip Rivers of old. I mean, Mike McCoy's come in there and does a really good job at head coach. I mean, they're throwing the football well. They're running the football consistent. The defense isn't looking great, but you gotta find a hole somewhere with a team that was expected to be bad. But I still think they're a lot better than anybody's expectations, including my own. But can they beat the Denver Broncos? I don't think so. The Broncos are, I still believe, the best team in football. Yes, they've shown that they had holes, but the Broncos, I believe, are too much. But with the way that the San Diego Chargers have been throwing the football, I do think that they can compete first half or so, especially playing at home. But eventually, the Broncos, Peyton Manning, and that offense will just take over, and it's gonna be a high-scoring game. I'll go 37-27 Broncos over the Chargers. I just think comparing the two defenses, Denver obviously has the better defense of the two, so I'm gonna go Denver. All right, next we have the Dallas Cowboys at the New Orleans Saints, and this is the Saints team that completely shocked me last week and allowed the New York Jets to actually come out and beat them. And that's kind of ironic because I'm talking about that, and they're showing it on NFL Live right now, the highlights of that game. But yeah, I don't know what happened to them. I know Geno Smith had a big game, and the offense of the Jets had a big game. They couldn't stop them for the most part of the game, and that it's just an odd performance, and I don't think that happens again. I think the Cowboys are probably the front runner to win the East right now, and it would not shock me if they came out and beat the Saints, because I mean, you got to admit that the Cowboys offense is one of the best offenses. Statistically, probably not really running the football, but as long as Tony Romo's the quarterback, you can't deny that he's great in the regular season. Yeah, you can bring up some arguments in the postseason that he's not the best, but they offensively they compete with every game, but their defense is not great whatsoever. They're like one of the worst defending the pass, and that's not a good combination when you're bringing up Drew Brees, one of the best passing attacks in all the NFL. So I expect the Saints in the Superdome to come out of this game with a victory by a touchdown. I'll go 35-27 Saints over the Dallas Cowboys. All right, the last matchup of the week, we had the Monday night matchup. Let me do my video prediction of how long it's been. I'm going to say about 18 minutes, 19. Okay, I'm a little bit closer than last week, but here we go. The Miami Dolphins at Tampa Bay, and this is a Miami Dolphins team that's in the midst of a crisis and a split locker room, according to some, with the Richie Incognito, however you say his name, his allegations towards, or more of Jonathan Martin's allegations toward Incognito and his bullying or whatever. But regardless, they're without the most important fact lost from this and forgot from this is the fact that they're without two of their 5 starters on the offensive line. I mean, that's 2 really, really good starters that they're missing, and that's without adding in all the controversy, which is probably going to be distractions for all the players and the coaches and everything. But you got to put that on a greater scale here because they're playing the Tampa Bay Bucks, who have not got a win so far this season. Look like one of the worst teams in the NFL. If Greg Schiano loses this game, he's on a tightrope and he could be fired pretty soon. Because this is a Tampa Bay team that's earlier on in the season was also in the midst of a scandal with Josh Freeman, etc. But I mean, Tampa Bay about beat Seattle last week, so they have competitive fire in them. But you just can't come out 1 week and say they're going to win because they've been bad in almost every facet of the game. They get outscored when they can score. When they can't score, the other team's defense plays better. So it's just everything's not working for the Bucks this season. I expect that to continue, and I expect the Miami Dolphins to beat them in their house by a touchdown. Either 27-20, Miami Dolphins over Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Alright guys, so that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a like if you haven't already, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/S3RTR. Have a great week, guys. Once again, I apologize. This is a couple hours late, but that happens sometimes. But until next time, have a great week. Peace.